Hello everyone, this is Days, and I must say I'm pretty damn happy with all the new samurai and ninja games we've got. Sekiro, which is FromSoft's spiritual successor to Tenchu, with Miyazaki's unique level design and combat direction, which keeps impressively progressing with every FromSoft title. We have Nioh 2, which builds upon the success of the critically acclaimed Nioh 1 with its satisfying mechanics and innovative weapons and ability tree design. Nioh 2 seems to build upon that, but with more innovation involved, such as the new feature that was clearly emphasized in the trailer, which is the ability to transform into a yokai, which is a huge thing. I mean, I can't wait to see how they work around making the transformation and what, new abilities, and if there's going to even be a skill tree for your yokai form, and this just gets me thinking all over the place. Let me continue. So this implies that Nioh 2 will be even harder than its prequel, given that the player character is even more powerful now, and it makes sense to balance it out with more powerful enemies as a result. Nioh 2 will also allow players to create their own character, unlike Nioh 1's set character. And the third medieval Japan-inspired game is Ghost of Tsushima, which is the main subject of this video. Ghost of Tsushima is being developed by Sucker Punch. The studio is mostly known for their popular game series, Infamous. After watching their E3 presentation of the game, it became clear that there's a lot to observe and appreciate about it. Today I'm going to talk about the nuances which you may or may not have noticed. Firstly, let's get the obvious out of the way. This game's environment is one of the most impressive I've ever seen, from the wind effects on the grass and the leaves carried by the wind, to the very believable skies and motion of the clouds, the lighting, the shadows, the stunning landscape of the Otsuna grasslands. It is truly mesmerizing. I hope there will be an option to have the characters simply sit down so I can sit at a cliff and simply take in the beauty of this environment. What an impressive display of visual rendering. Though I've heard some criticisms aimed towards the HDR tuning being a little bit more excessive in the demo, so I'm not sure how that's going to turn out in the final build. I'm sure they will tune it the correct way and they won't leave any criticism just go by without giving enough attention to. Moving on. So after looking over the grasslands, the main character Jin calls his horse, as to showcase one way of traversing the open world. As the horse sprints through the grasslands, we can see the fluidity of the grass being spread apart as the horse goes through, giving off a very immersive feel to the grass, topped with some wildlife, birds, and the sound of the flute. It truly feels quite authentic. As Jin moves through, he reaches the forest and goes through. We reach a scene where Jin is up against 3 Mongol soldiers. One of the soldiers charges at Jin, as Jin performs a beautiful samurai draw attack. And while I was watching this during the E3 presentation, as soon as I saw that, the combat seemed pretty legit. Just as soon as I saw that, because that was just too cool. The blood effects, the way it was executed, the mark of the wound on the soldier's chest, it looked very believable. The attention to detail and the way they portrayed the wound, it seemed quite real, like a real sword wound. And the draw attack was just too cool to just not talk about for at least 20 seconds before I move on to the next thing. So we get a proper look at the combat system, which seems to heavily focus on real-life kenjutsu techniques and sword arts originated by the samurai. The careful aim and the lethality of every move being key to the core of the gameplay. Doesn't look like a hack and slash in the least bit. Blocking, dodging, parrying, counterattacking, and finishing moves are all seen in the sequence. This slow, methodical way of fighting is one way of approaching the encounter. As seen in the 2017 trailer, the character evolves from samurai to more than just a samurai, as he has to learn other means of fighting techniques to ensure survival. We'll see some more of that in a bit. Moving on, Jin meets with his fellow warrior Masako, and they both sneak into this temple in order to save someone from the Mongol soldiers.
なぜ戦わぬ？
探場所を忘れたか。気づかれれば
After performing a stealth attack, we see one of the abilities that Jin had to learn in order to go up against the Mongol invasion and become the Shadow of Tsushima, or rather the Ghost of Tsushima, and that is the Grappling Hook, which gives the option to reach platforms that are out of jumping reach. As the player finds a way to interrupt a torture session, we see the player marking the 3 Mongols that are inside, and as he performs the plunge attack, we see the significance and the reason why he took his time to mark them before plunging in. The marking prompted this ability where time is sort of slowed down for just enough time to take out all 3 soldiers. I'm guessing that's one of the stealth-based abilities that we can unlock throughout the game, unless it's one of those mechanics that are already implemented in the stealth system. If it's a stealth exclusive mechanic in the first place, we'll see later, and it doesn't need to be unlocked. I don't know. We don't have enough info on that. I hope we'll get some more later. Regardless, it's super cool to see. After the rescue, Masako confronts Jin and she wants to fight him because story reasons, and they get into this highly artistic sequence of a duel underneath the sakura tree. And during the sunset, it almost felt like I'm watching a movie, quite impressively immersive indeed. So what did we learn about Ghost of Tsushima so far? Here are 5 pieces of info that I've put together for you guys. According to Sucker Punch co-founder Chris Zimmerman, Ghost of Tsushima is heavily inspired and influenced by the films of Akira Kurosawa, who's known as one of the most important and influential filmmakers in the history of cinema, emphasizing how everything is moving all the time in his movies, and how there isn't ever a static shot, and that there's always natural things going on in the background, from passing clouds to leaves blown by the wind, which he called natural beauty. The story of Ghost of Tsushima is going to be bigger than Sucker Punch's previous games according to Zimmerman, in that the demo shown in E3, including the scenes, was just a side quest. I like what I'm hearing, side quests with substance. It reminds me of Witcher 3's side quests. I hope Sucker Punch delivers on that promise. Zimmerman also explained how Jin evolves as he goes beyond his samurai training in terms of combat and ideology, as he's forced to find new ways of survival, stating, I quote, "He can't just be a samurai and hope to win, so he's forced to invent stuff, discover stuff, go beyond what he's been taught, and invent something new to be victorious in the end." End quote. So what's ultimately interesting for me is that the game gives us the chance to experience traditional iconic samurai duels and fights, all the way to evolving into a warrior, who's complete with ninja-like capabilities as suggested by the 2017 trailer and the hook showcased in this demo. I absolutely love the idea of how the combat system will scale up as the character evolves throughout the story, getting a true feel of character development in terms of both narrative and gameplay mechanics. Sounds good to me. The team at Sucker Punch took multiple trips to the island of Tsushima for reference, and hired a cast of mostly native Japanese speakers. Zimmerman stated they still have a dialogue coach for the game for authentic ancient Japanese. So, as confirmed, there will be an option to switch to Japanese dubs with English subs, which is great for making the experience more believable, authentic, and engaging. So yes, it can be played entirely in Japanese. One more really cool thing about the voice acting in this game is that the Japanese voice actor for this game is Kazuya Nakai. He's playing Jin in Ghost of Tsushima. He's most notably known for One Piece, as Zoro and Samurai Champloo as Mugen. So yeah, I really like this guy's voice acting. It's very spot on with whoever character he embodies, and I'm even more excited now to play the game in Japanese. This is awesome. Kazuya Nakai is going to own this character, that's for sure. You're going to see just how badass he can make the character just using his voice.
だが聞くがお前絶対に人を噛まねえと保証できる猛獣に会ったことあるか
The studio even went as far as sending an audio scout to Japan to capture ambient noises to use for the game's environment. And finally, Ghost of Tsushima will have difficulty settings. Zimmerman emphasized that the game won't be a cakewalk, but fundamentally there are different kinds of players. Those who are story-driven and those who are action-driven. And this is my comment here, but I might add people even in the middle who care about both, obviously. And that they wanted to appeal to both groups, but those who are looking for a satisfying challenge, the game will definitely deliver on that front. And even on the easier settings, the game will still put up a challenge so it can feel more meaningful, and that means it's going to depend on who you are as a player. But as suggested by the statement, most players won't have such a hard time getting through the game and finishing it. It's not a FromSoft game. My inner weeb is definitely exploding with excitement from all these samurai ninja game anime coded announcements. As well as Code Vein, by the way, that game's looking very good. I like where it's going so far, at least in terms of the gameplay. I'll be on the lookout for more info, especially when it comes to Sekiro and Ghost of Tsushima, but I would like some more stuff to talk about. Other than that, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.
争えば我らは負ける
とうに負けておるわ
裏切るつもりか
坊主をこちらに渡せ
断る